Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Metropolitan Community Church of Baltimore's Bible study. We're now going to have our meditative moment. If you'll give me 1 second here to get. There we go. Thank you for being patient with me. So if you'll prepare for our meditative moment, let me get myself situated. Get your feet on the floor. I usually like to put my hands on my thighs. And we're just going to take a nice big breath in. And remember, this is just to center ourselves and let all the busyness of the day go. Kind of just loosen up a little bit. The idea is to just get in the middle. Let all that stuff go from the day. And let God take over at this moment. Be quiet and still and listen for God. Okay? Take another nice deep breath. And while you're blowing it out this time, just blow out all those things that caused you stress today and tension and made you feel uptight. Yes, let them go. Just let them go. If you're like me, I'm sitting where I can still feel the sunshine from the day. It was nice and pretty today. I took my puppy outside for a walk. Enjoyed just breathing in a nice crisp air. Just concentrate on breathing and relaxing. Letting it go, letting God have it. Ah, yes. Listen to the sounds in the air, depending upon where you are. Just think about what you're hearing. Close your eyes and just listen. Listen to the sounds. Is it the cars in the streets or the TV in the next room? A lawnmower? Cat jumping down? A dog barking? Somebody talking? Just hear God in the sounds. And as you're hearing God in the sounds, let yourself relax. Relax and be at peace this evening. Just relax. Take 3 or 4 nice cleansing breaths in. Now this time when you breathe in, I want you to think about what you're smelling. Think about what you're what you smell as you're breathing in. Is someone cooking? You smell grass like I do because someone just mowed? Do you smell the streets of the city or the clean air? Clean laundry? Just pay attention to that sense. We often forget that when we meditate, we can concentrate on the smell of what's around us, not just the sounds. Just concentrate on that for a minute. See how that makes you feel. Because see, when you meditate, you can bring all your senses into it when you try to center yourself. It's not just the hearing and the relaxing and the breathing. You can smell, you can feel. What do you feel? Do you feel a breeze? Is it hot? Is it cold? Do you feel the sun shining on you or a light bulb? What do you feel? What are you feeling right now? What are you feeling with your body? What's happening? Just concentrate on that breathing in and out, and what you feel. Just breathe in and out and allow yourself to relax. Allow yourself to feel. Feel the hairs on your body. Feel your toes. Just feel your lungs fill with the air. Feel them decrease as you expel the air out. Use the sensation of feel, not by touching, just by feeling. Feeling with the whole sense of your body. Allowing yourself to center and concentrate. Allowing yourself to breathe and relax. Allowing yourself to just be. Be right there. Yes. Now, while you're doing that, I want you to just concentrate on thanking God. Thanking God for the ability to do this. Thanking God for the opportunity. Thanking God for the just being. For allowing you to take the time to slow down, to breathe, to feel, to hear, to smell. Just thank God for those abilities. Just breathe. Just breathe in and out. Just allow yourself to relax. Excuse me. That's it. Just breathe and relax. This is getting centered time so that we can concentrate on Bible study and the discussion that's about to occur. So just breathe and relax. Remember to smell and to hear and to listen, to really listen to what's around you. Now we're going to slowly get ready for Bible study. I want you to take another nice deep breath. Blow it out. Thanking God. Thank you, God, for this time and this place and allowing us all to be together. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. Now, if my fellow participants could join me on on Zoom, I would greatly appreciate it. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening, Minister Mel.
It is so wonderful to see all your wonderful faces. I missed you guys last week. I want you to know that. I want to thank Minister Ray and Pastor Denise for doing such a wonderful job. I missed Bible study last week, but I was so under the weather that I spent the next 3 days in bed. So I thank you all for taking care of things in my stead and doing such a wonderful job. So let's get started tonight. Tonight it's Minister Lee and I, and we're going to get started with our Bible study as we continue our series, the God in Cinema. And I've got so many different little windows open, I don't know what windows I have open and what windows I don't. So you're going to have to pardon me. So I'm going to start off with our Bible study disclaimer, and I'm going to share it so that everyone can see it. And I'll read it. Metropolitan Community Church of Baltimore is an open and affirming ministry. The views, opinions, positions, or strategies expressed during our Bible study remix are not necessarily reflective of everyone in attendance or of Metropolitan Community Church of Baltimore. Metropolitan Community Church of Baltimore is not responsible for any legal actions or adverse consequences that might arise from a person's attendance and or comments during Bible study live on Facebook or any other form of social media. Now, hold on. Next, we're going to do our mantra. So if everybody can get out their swords, and tonight I'm going to cheat. I'm using my little phone gadget here. Don't you like how I can't even think of what it is all of a sudden? And then I'm going to hunt that one up and share it. And I'll just read it, and you guys can follow along because the back feed is a little crazy. Okay. Excuse me. The Bible consists of many inspiring accounts about God. However, it is not God. Therefore, I will use the Bible as one of many tools towards spiritual formation and growth in my life. However, I will never use the Bible to harm me or hurt others. I will not allow the Bible to limit my understanding of who God is, what God can do, and who God can use, knowing that the words of God are still being written even through me. I emphatically believe that God loves, God liberates, and God extends grace to us all. And upon this belief, I embrace biblical engagement.
All right, all right, all right. Thank you, Minister Mel. Now I have another disclaimer. It's God in Cinema series disclaimer.
Wait a minute, I got that one to share for you too.
Okay.
There we go.
All righty. MCC Baltimore is not promoting any movie, characters, actor or actresses, or production studios and or companies in this posting. The names presented during this Bible study are solely for educational purposes. Any images, videos, and names shared and shown is strictly for educational purposes. Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. All right. And also, let me go over just a little brief ground rules, okay? Please know that we're looking for godly concepts that can be found in anything we do and everywhere we look. Be okay with witnessing God in common places, but be mindful not to make things godly that aren't godly, as the danger can be that devastating. Take discernment, self understanding of who God is to you, and prayer and reflection. In short, just look for the things that you see God. You know how you perceive God, and tell us of what you see God in the movies, okay? All righty now. Okay. Uh, Let me provide a brief. I'm feeling like you, Melinda. I got too many things open.
That's the only problem with trying to get everything in. We all get busy.
Huh?
I said, we all get busy.
Uh-huh. Okay, tonight we're going to talk about the movie The Peanut Butter Falcon. Yay! I actually truly enjoyed this movie. It's PG-13. It was completed in 2019. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 96. And taken from the review from an online magazine, The Gospel Coalition, entitled The New Indie Movie That Might Make You Worship, September 7th, 2019. More than anything, Falcon is a story about family. In this case, the family is in a found sense, as circumstances bring three very different people together to form an unlikely but beautiful bonds that, as the film progresses, take on more of a family-like shape. Tyler, who's played by Shia LaBeouf, is a troubled fisherman on the run from bad guys whose equipment he's destroyed. Zach, who's played by Zach Gottsinger, is a 22-year-old with Down syndrome who, in the opening, is trying to escape from a retirement home where he lives. And Eleanor, who takes care of Zach at the home, spends the movie searching to find him in the North Carolina's Outer Banks. Each of these each of these three have wounds of their family's past. Tyler lost a brother in an automobile accident. Zach's parents abandoned him, and Eleanor is a widow. When the three eventually become friends and coalesce into a healthy, functioning, if messy family unit, you can almost see the scars begin to heal. I thought the movie was just Awesome. I don't want to hog it, but I hope everybody's seen it.
Have you guys, Minister Tomas and Minister Ray, have you seen it?
Yes.
Minister Tomas?
Yes.
Okay. Now I want to give you a little bit more background on it. It was written and directed by Tyler Nilson and Michael Schwartz. It was released on August 23rd of 2019. Um, I found some of the minor characters as interesting as the major characters. I don't know. There was something about Bruce Dern as Carl that just made my day.
Yes. He was quite funny. He was kinda
Right,
sneaky without being sneaky.
Mickey.
Yeah.
And of course, Wayne DeHart is Jasper John, our gospel man. And then Thomas Hayden Church as Clint or Saltwater Redneck. What a name, okay? Only people of my you could come up with a name like that. And I can get away with saying that. But you guys, that wasn't the most interesting name for any of the actors. Yellow Wolf, okay, as Duncan. And I was like, just one name? Okay, just one name. So, and it was filmed in North Carolina and Georgia. And it was one of the producers actually works with the Special Olympics. It was Tim Shriver. So it all ties in when you watch the movie. If you haven't seen it, you've got to. I watched it twice a day just to make sure I was ready to talk about it tonight, but I'd already seen it before. I think I can almost quote all the parts now by heart. Um, but it was, I enjoyed it, is all I'm going to say. So let's go on and talk about it. Let's just go and talk about how the movie flowed and where we saw God or God in the movie. Um, I think we have to start out by talking about each of the characters.
Hmm. Okay.
So, Minister Lee, I'll let you take over that.
Sure, sure. I the first person we met, I think, was Zach. I'm not sure. Was it Zach? Zach is in a nursing home, and it is so comical because Zach is 22 with Down syndrome, and he's trying to explain to the people who run the place that he's 22 years old. So the last place he needs to be is in a retirement home, and he spends his days plotting to escape from the retirement home. You know? Okay, then we have Tyler. Tyler seems to be a little rough on the edges, a little rough around the edges, and he just seems to be kind of out for self. Um, when the movie, actually, 'cause I think we see him first, because in the movie we see him stealing crab pots from other people. You know? I was wondering why he was taking the crab pots and then running away. Then it dawned on me those crab pots did not belong to Tyler. So Tyler is just, trying any means necessary to make it to another day. And Eleanor, who is the social worker, Eleanor is very, very caring. You know? She's very caring, very committed, sometimes overly caring. Um, she sees herself as a do-gooder, and she doesn't really examine why she does what she does. But one of the things we learned that everyone has lost people. Tyler lost his brother in a car accident, and Zach lost his parents, and Eleanor, we find out, is a widow. at a young age. And the three of these people together is just wow, amazing, amazing to me. I don't
So,
get too deep because part of me really doesn't want to talk about it because I don't want to spoil it for other people. For people who haven't seen it, what you can do is watch the replay. Because we're gonna be all the spoiler alerts are just gonna come out because there's so much fun to talk about. Go ahead, Mr.
yep.
Mel.
So anyway, for me, it was kind of funny because I go back and I think about what you said, in the beginning when we started, Minister Lee, about, looking for godly concepts in the movie and what's going on. And I'm like going, it's real funny because, I watched it with Minister Joe. And I'm like, honey, what's so godly about this guy stealing crabs? And then he sets the place on fire. Okay. What's so godly about that? What is so godly about sticking a 22-year-old developmentally disabled person in a nursing home? Who the heck wants to live with people in wheelchairs? And you're 22. And I'm like going, none of that's godly. And poor Minister Joe, she's like, oh no, this is one of her soapboxes again. Y'all know how I feel about people on the margins, especially the mentally ill and the developmentally disabled. Do not mistreat them. And I'm like, and then you got my friend Carl. Let me show you my friend Carl. I'm just like, and you watch now that I said this, I can't find this picture. I can't find this picture. So anyway, Carl's a grumpy old man, can't go anywhere without a cane. And he's Zach's roommate. And I'm like going, poor Zach. But at the same time, I love my old folks. And I'm thinking, poor Carl, how many times did Zach make him watch that movie? How many times did he get to see the saltwater redneck? And I'm like going, I don't know who to feel sorry for in this thing yet. I don't know who's wrong and who's right. Who's going to be the good guy? Because if I'm looking for God, I'm looking for a good guy. I ain't seen nobody good. Zach wants to run away. Carl's grumpy. What? I can't remember the older lady's name who faked the choke. I'm like going, and now we got Tyler over here lighting everything on fire and people chasing him, wanting to beat him up. There's no good guys in this movie. How can there be God in this movie? Where is God? And that's you asked Mr. Joe, that's what's going through my head. Where is God in this movie? So then, Minister Ray, I got you laughing. Did you want to say something? No?
I was just laughing at the movie. I was just going to just say one thing. I think, and yeah, I feel the same way you felt. I'm just like, because I'd never seen it, so I went in with the lens of looking for God, because this was, it's in our series. So I'm like, okay. So like in the beginning, I'm like, well, I see patience because Zach has patience to, even though he keeps trying to escape, he has some patience. Carl has patience for him because he has to sit there, even though he had a few choice words for him, he has to sit there and watch this saltwater redneck. So that's the first thing I saw in the beginning was kind of like patience. Um but yeah, it was I'm right with you, Minister. Well,
And then I started to see some redemptive qualities in people. Because if you think about it, what was the lady's name? Anna something who choked? I can't remember. Well, she was willing to help Zach. Okay? But then we get in the room and Eleanor's writing up the report and Zach's like, I don't care, I lost my privileges anyway. I'm stuck here. But then when they get to bed that night, and I'm like thinking, so he's got bars. Carl's like, no, man. You put this stuff on you, you squeeze through them bars, you pull them bars. I'm like, wait a minute. Now we got help in here. Now I'm starting to see a little bit. I got some help in here. So I'm like, okay. Now we're going to do the great escape. And all I could think of, and I'm not going to lie to you guys, I looked at Joe and I said, look, Joe, it's like the Jewish people escaping Egypt. So that's what we mean when we say you got to be careful, because you got to be careful what you're really looking for. That wasn't the plot of the movie, but that's where my brain went because I'm looking for God. You know? So then we get to the great escape. And we don't have one, we have two great escapes. Because Zach has to escape, and Tyler now has to escape. They was after Tyler. And then he went running in the reeds with his boat. And I said, see, Joe, there's Moses. He's in the reeds. He's in the bushes. Poor Joe. She's just like, you're not getting it, honey. But isn't this what we're supposed to be doing? So I'm like, okay. Well, I guess that's not what I'm supposed to be doing. So then we settled down and we watched it. I was like, this was a good movie. So, Mr. Lee, I'm going to let you take over for a little bit.
All right. Well, let's ask, because let's ask everybody. What was the first time you think you saw God in the movie?
Minister Leah, I'll say for me, I think the first time I saw God was when Tyler and Zach Tyler found out he had a common bond with Zach. There was a moment where they just had started off, and so they weren't really bonding. And it wasn't until Tyler kind of found out or discovered, oh, Zach is wanted. He's on the run like me. We have something in common. And so that was the first time I saw, I'll say I pictured God in the movie. But also, I when the movie started off and when you look at the individual characters, the first thing that came to my mind, especially about Tyler, is how we say it in the church, hurting people hurt people. And so I didn't know what was going on, but I knew something had to be going on or had happened in his life to hurt him so much that all he was doing was going around hurting other people. And he wasn't trying to find a solution or resolution. And then I looked at Zach and I saw Zach in a situation that he didn't want to be in, and he was looking for a way to escape. So I saw them both having that in common. And when they created a bond, I began to think to myself that, okay, so they found something in common and they've kind of formed their own family. And isn't it intriguing how when we're looking for a solution to our problem, the traditional answer that we may think and may expect God to deliver us from our problem isn't always the way it happens. And so both of these individuals, through the process of the story, as well as the third party, I saw them being delivered from situations that they may not have necessarily known was maybe holding them in bondage. They weren't living life and really enjoying life. And going from that to a place of freedom and a place of family, unity, and feeling like they belong.
Okay, okay. Anybody else? Yes, Minister Ray.
Um, One, to piggyback off Minister Tomas about Tyler being hurting people. I think his grief, that's how his grief showed up, and not dealing with that process in turn made him just probably just not care. Um, so I just wanted to say that part. But where I first saw God, I believe, um, oh, was when the little boy was trying to tell Zach to jump into the water, and he's like he can't swim. So even though he had just met him previously, he knew that one thing about him, that he couldn't swim. But he could have just walked away. He could have said, "Oh, he can't swim." Well, he could have just not cared. But he ran up he's pulling his shirt off. He's running up the steps. Um, and he jumps right in, like no hesitation, jumps right in and saves him. And at that point, still didn't really know him. Like this is Zach kind of was in the boat, and I probably would have got caught in the reeds because I would have screamed if I would have heard somebody under the tarp. But like he kind of just was like, shh, like I don't know if I would have did that in that situation. I probably would have jumped out the boat and screamed and got caught by Rat Boy and Duncan. So but like just not even really knowing him, but putting yourself in I mean, he knew how to swim, so I'm not gonna say it was like harm or in danger, but he selflessly just was like, I need to help this person. Um, because if I don't, they're not gonna make it.
Minister Lee, Minister Ray just said something that popped into my head, so I have to add on to what she talked about. And that is the altercation when the kids were trying to get Zach to jump in the water, and Tyler, not only did he run up there, but he punched the kid that was that had pushed Zach into the water. And so, Minister Ray, you saying that brought up the thought of social justice, seeing an injustice being done. He didn't hesitate. He jumped to action. Even though, as you stated, Minister Ray, they hardly knew each other, but just the injustice. So that also shows to me in terms of God in the movie, there was something on the inside of yet Tyler, even though he may have looked hard and he may have been leading a destructive life, that there was still something inside that was able, the Spirit of God able to touch him, to want to step out there for social justice, to defend and protect somebody who needed that.
I think, and I don't remember the exact phrase, but really it was that where Zach and Tyler really affirmed each other by, I don't know, it might have been, like, oh, maybe I don't know if he said, oh, you're smart. And that maybe, I think Tyler had said to Zach he was smart. I don't remember. I wish I could remember the exact phrase. And then Zach says something to Tyler. So it's like it was just like a few words, a couple of sentences, not a couple of words, a phrase, but it was whatever it was really like, you're not such a bad person after all. You're not, and you're not dumb or stupid, but and just affirming and uplifting each other with just those few words, I think meant the world to each of them, because then you had someone who actually believed in them. They had someone that actually that believed in them, probably maybe for the first time, that believed in them and believed in their abilities and believed that they weren't such a bad person after all, and that they had good qualities and had something to offer others. and then also when when Tyler comes around and he really starts to mentor and train Zach, because he's gonna be that to be the peanut butter falcon. He's, all the wrestling things, and and just life skills, the things that he was teaching him. What was it? Taught him how to shoot a gun, I think, and some other things. And so just the fact that that I saw God in those things, because that's showing love and having compassion for each other.
Very true, very true. I know for me, the first time I saw God in the movie was during The Great Escape, because although Carl gave an explanation of how he bent those bars, he could not have bent those bars with those towels. It just would physically, it was impossible to bend those bars with those towels. Just pulling the towels, I was like, yeah, okay, bro, that wasn't you, but okay. And and the whole, I guess the way they shot Zach coming out of the thing, coming out of the window, it just looked like a rebirth to me. And I was like, oh, okay, all right. Um, and then, and the whole thing plus the escape and trying to have him um, get past the three guys on the dock. And it was like, he's not really hiding. He think he hiding, but he's not really hiding. There's no way in the world they just can't see him other than God kind of making them blind. And then he just happens to get on the boat that's going to take him for freedom. I was like that whole sequence was like, oh, that's God. Okay, I got you. I understand. I don't understand um, why nobody's questioning them bars, but why I asked. It was like God is God. Okay, all right.
See, Minister Lee, I have to agree with you. I saw God in the Great Escape
Mhm.
because, again, I saw it as like the Jews going out of Egypt because I saw Zach as like being enslaved uh,
Mhm.
in that nursing home because he was so misplaced, because he was so out of place. He just didn't fit. And then Tyler, because of his anger and his frustration at the world at the moment, because of his um, loss of his brother, and not just the loss of his brother, he also lost his income because the license for the fishing was in his
Mhm.
brother's name. So he literally had lost everything.
Mhm.
The only thing he had was that boat. And so I saw that, like, I saw God there because it was like, I'm like you. When Zach went sliding through that thing and all greased up and just his tighty whities, all I could see was rebirth.
Mhm.
And like that picture that I put up of Zach just sitting in the water, it was like, I'm new. I'm here. Do what you want, God. I'm here. And that's how it made me feel.
Mhm.
Like, here I am.
All right, all right. What was
Minister Lee, you muted yourself.
I thought I was muted. I thought I had muted and I had just unmuted myself. Oh well, I got it backwards. What were the other instances where you saw God in the movie? Anybody can go first. Yes, Minister Joe.
This is a little bit later on, but the baptism. Definitely, that's I guess, more of an overt outward thing, but definitely that baptism.
True, true, very true.
Minister Lee, I'd have to say another area where I felt I saw God was the compassion that was moved upon the heart of what's his name, Redneck, when he had got there to the school,
Hmm.
and Tyler comes up and explains to him, and he's telling him, "Okay, now wave to him for me." Now he's come a long way, and he's really been interested in the school, and he's like, "Oh, the school." He said the school had died, and he was like, "I'm sorry, I can't help you." But then, yet something on the inside tugged at his heart from the story and just seeing Zach. And so out of nowhere, then he shows up zigzagging in his, I don't know, was it a Corvette, Camaro,
Trans Am.
Trans Am? But that was a beautiful moment because together everybody was there rejoicing. Everybody was there sharing in the happiness for Zach, that he was getting the opportunity to do what he had pictured in his mind and been so focused and determined that he wanted to do. And they didn't try to dissuade him. They didn't, tell him anything. And even as Minister Joanne brought out, even Tyler was affirming him and reaffirming him, telling him that, that coach that told you whatever he told you, well, maybe he's not so smart himself. And so it really shows the coming together of people on one accord to support a cause, also for somebody else that's not their own, and laying aside their own, desires and thoughts and how it should be done, or how to get there. Like when the young lady showed up, she was, you know, determined, oh, I'm going to take him back. But how it all comes together so beautifully so that Zach can have his special moment, his time of what he dreamed and aspired for. And that really is, to me, that really shows the God and people, regardless of whether they call themselves a Christian or not, coming together to do good for someone else.
Um,
Yes, Miss.
my other God moment, I think, is in the fact that it's kind of twofold. So Tyler, showing Zach how to use a gun, just teaching him those life skills that he'll need. It's like, um, whatever happens, I want to make sure that you're okay. But also, it kind of goes by like not judging a book by its cover. So you remember you had, um, I guess it was like someone who worked at the hospital, at the home.
Hmm.
The little boy, they were calling Zach names. They were calling him the R word.
Hmm.
And you would think that Tyler would too, just because of his outward
Hmm.
appearance. You would think that he wouldn't have compassion. And he never spoke those words. He only spoke good words and then affirming words. That's why I saw the God moment. I think that just teaches us as humans, like, just because someone looks a certain way, and even um if Zach didn't have the physical characters of someone with Down syndrome, well, I mean, that's what it is.
Hmm.
But would he be given, would you even give him a second glance, to even call him a name, you know? And so I think that part made me really think about how we judge people based on their appearance either way. He's scruffy, and that probably means he's not but he is. He was definitely well educated. And Zach was smart. Like, you were like, oh no, he's not smart because he has Down syndrome. No, he was very smart, and he was persistent and determined to do what he wanted to do, no matter what anybody else told him, and no matter how many flight risks he had. He was a flight risk.
Um, I have to agree with all of you. And it was funny because I kept seeing God everywhere in this movie after I started to really think about it. Because the redemptive qualities of Zach and Tyler's relationship, because they kept affirming each other. It you saw you saw Tyler soften as the journey continued and become more caring. But at the same time, you saw Zach grow and come out of that shell and become, quote, I hate the term, more normal. Okay. But, and you saw that. And then, I'm sorry, I love Jasper. And Mr. Lee and I talked about Jasper. He was one of our favorites. When he came out with that gun, and then when he said, and now we're going to wash your sins away so that they won't follow you, be able to follow you. And I was thinking, Tyler, you need to get in that water. You really need to get in that water. You're the one who got the sins on you. But I saw God there, but then at the same time, I saw my old patients because I can remember watching the nuns come in and working with my patients who were severely developmentally disabled and thinking, do they really know what they're doing? And then when Zach just went down there and was like, okay, baptize me, I was like, it's really that simple. I was like, wow, I never thought of it being that simple.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think about it, when you decide to get baptized in church, it's a and Zach just went, okay. I'm like going,
Mm-hmm.
why do we make things so complicated? Zach just showed me how simple it is to accept God and to accept forgiveness and to know that this is a new start and a rebirth, because that to me was another rebirthing moment in this movie. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like going, we make things way too complicated. So, and then when Eleanor got to Jasper's and he said, do you believe in God and Jesus? And she said, yes. Well, you come on in here and sit down. We'll have a talk for a while. And I'm just thinking, okay, I get it. And I'm going, I'm liking this now. I get this. I'm seeing God. So, think about
Cool, cool. I'm a visual person. So just when they finally got rid of and they got away and they get out the boat and he shoots the boat 3 times to sink it, they were walking on the water. And Zach is saying, I'm scared. I don't want to walk on the water. I don't walk on the water. And Tyler is just saying, just walk on the water. Just walk on the water. And I was just like, dang, that just looked like Peter and Moses to me. Them walk because the way they shot the way they shot the scene is that you could see they were in a foot of water, but the way they shot it, it looks like their feet were on top of the water walking. And you could just hear Zach saying, "But I'm afraid, I don't want to do this." And him and Tyler just never giving up, never stopping, just doing it. And that was just that took me to that moment. And also, I think at that moment, it went from everything that before Tyler was stealing on this journey, they started getting for free. You know, he went to try to go to the gas station, and tried to buy. He bought all this stuff and it was $13 and he only had $3. And it was like, okay, the guy broke everything down, and then finally he just gave him the alcohol. It was like, I think you need this more than me. And I was like, but from that point on, everywhere he went, he was getting free stuff. He didn't have to steal anything, and that's where I saw the God in that.
And also, I like that you brought up in the gas station because that's where they met, where they brought Eleanor back in, and I just love the the fact that she was like, I don't know who you think you are, I don't know what you think you're doing, but you're a crazy man. And if y'all remember when she left, because here they were going at each other. When she left, she gave him the finger and was like, and I'm like going, okay, that wasn't so godly, and that wasn't so ladylike of her. I'm like going, am I looking at this right? But it's fun to me. It was funny how they all started out antagonistic
Mhm.
towards each other when they first met up because Zach saw Eleanor as his antagonist because she was his keeper. She was his enslaver. She was the one who said, you have to follow the rules here. And then when Zach and Tyler met, that was antagonistic because Tyler's trying to run and he's scared to death. Zach is going to make a noise and give him up. And then when Tyler and Eleanor meet, it's antagonistic again because, Tyler's got to be your typical man and make a hit on a pretty woman. So it was funny to me how they all started out antagonistic, but look what happened as they went through the journey. And there were so many parts where you could see God in the journey. And I think that is a big important part of it was the journey. So I'm going to give it back to Minister Tomas.
Minister Melinda Ludy, if I may, you brought up another good point about the journey. And in the real life, we don't know who the journey will bring in our pathway. So in every situation we encounter, we do have to be mindful and careful of how we treat people. The situation you talked about, Eleanor and Tyler, her perception of him at that time was what she saw as reality, thinking of him that way and giving him the middle finger, but yet their paths wind up crossing. And then she saw that there was more to him than just that, than her original perception. And so we never know whose pathway will cross or who will pick up along the way for a season or for a year or for a moment. And it's a beautiful thing how God just intertwines people's pathways to be there to help each other and to get through things that we in ourselves, I know I myself have been in situations where I thought, okay, I can handle this and get through it on my own. And then yet God puts somebody in my pathway and I begin to realize, okay, I can't do this on my own. And thank you for being there. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your encouragement. And that is a part of the cycle of life because we all go through ups and downs. Even in the pandemic, people are going through ups and downs. And so you never know whose path you may cross that you can help or who may cross your path that can help you. And in that respect, being mindful, even myself being mindful, I can't discount anybody I come into contact with. I can't discount them because of the way they look, because of how they dress, or even how they smell. I just don't know who they are, and I don't know the God that may be within them. The outer exterior appearances are so deceiving in today's time, and God is yet everywhere and can be found in everyone if you give them an opportunity.
Minister Tomas, I agree with you
Mm-hmm.
so much, and that's why if you think about it, when I did the meditative moment tonight, I wanted you to smell and to just feel while you were sitting there,
Mm-hmm.
because that reminded me of this movie because Tyler was such a rough character, so very, very rough, and always looked scruffy and dirty. But look at his heart, look at the inside. And Zach, well, I'm sorry, if you lathered down with lotion, you want to have a smell about you. And then you, the only way you getting clean is swimming in the river. And did they have soap? I don't know. So, think about it. But then think about the sounds that they heard while they were on this journey. And it's that's why I brought it up in the meditative moment, because we don't think about those kind of things and the God in those moments. And this whole movie just reminded me of the God in those moments along their journey where um, when they were sharing the watermelon and got into the fight, and then they made the helmets. Um, or I'm sorry, I like Minister Ray when she brought up that he taught him to shoot the gun, and the first time he shot it, he went boom and fell back. And then in the end, it's Zach who's pulling out the gun to protect Tyler instead of Tyler to protect Zach. You know, um, it was just the interweaving, but at the same time, like it started out where Zach was the one who was doing all the saving. I mean, Tyler was the one who was saving Zach. Tyler gave him clothes. He gave him shoes. He gave him, he went back and got him out when he was swimming. He took him across the river and he pulled like I don't know what to get him away from that shrimp boat. And you're thinking, oh, this is just going to be a movie about this guy saving this little, I'm sorry, I'm going to use the word, this little retarded guy, and they're just going to make it a normal everyday movie. And I'm like going, I was kind of disappointed, but then I had to keep watching. And it came back, but that was how Tyler got his redemption, how he got his heart changed. And I was thinking, that's the God in that, because God changed Tyler's heart by using Zach, by having him. I think that Tyler was used to his brother taking care of him, and now all of a sudden Tyler had to take care of somebody else, and it changed him. And I do love the point about that Minister Lee made about how all of a sudden then things became free for them, where they weren't stealing. Because if you think about it, Jasper gave them the materials to make the boat, um, and fed them and things like that. But at the same time, what I found really interesting was is how many times did Eleanor get that close to catching them? Okay, that close, because she got that close at the swimming. She was right there with Tyler in the gas station. I bet she wasn't even a couple hours behind when she got to Jasper. That close. And think how it would have changed the story if she'd have caught him sooner. So, you know, I'm just saying that life hinges on a hair, you know?
Hmm.
So,
Very true. Very true. I was so taken. My heart was so full when they were setting out after the baptism. They were going on the raft, and um, Jasper said something pretty prophetic. He said, because he kept telling them that they looked like they were lambs for the slaughter, and just as they were leaving, Jasper said, "May all the wolves of your past be laid to rest." And I thought that was so heavy and so deep. And then directly after that, Zach looked at Tyler and said, "I want you to have all my birthday wishes." And because he's been talking about his birthday the entire time. And then for him to give away his birthday wishes, I mean, that's when Tyler started crying. Because it was like, okay, I can finally release all this stuff. I finally can let go. Oh, and one thing else I wanted to say, Mr. Melinda, right after after the shrimp boat, Zach pulled Tyler up, took him, grabbed him by the hand, pulled him up, and then Zach was leading Tyler. Tyler just looked like he was just dazed, just looking like, how did this happen? I'm just walking behind Zach. I don't even know where I'm going, but I'm following Zach.
you know, and I have to agree with you, but the other thing that was amazing is the strength of each, and not just physical strength, but their inner strength. Because if they had given up on this journey and given up, it was like if they had given up on God in this journey, it would have been different. But and once they got that bond, they kept that bond. It was like, and I think what was amazing is Tyler did not see himself as any better than Zach, and made Zach see himself the same as Tyler, which again, that goes back to a justice issue where we always society tries to divide. What if we said we're the same and we really meant it? And we really try to stick to it and really try to be it like these two guys did. They were totally different. They weren't even brought up in the same way because the home was in Richmond and Tyler's on the Outer Banks of North Carolina. You could tell that Zach probably had a little bit of money, not a whole lot, but look at even the economic differences. It's just it was amazing to me that they ended up such good friends and family and caring and all of that. So, you know,
I was,
Minister Ray,
yeah, I was gonna say, remember what Carl said in the beginning, that friends are the family you choose or you make. I can't remember the exact words, but
family,
huh?
friends are the family you choose. Yep.
Yeah. Um, and that's just like so true that they were both on a journey. Zach to just escape and get down to redneck
Saltwater redneck.
saltwater rednecks school, and and then Tyler just, like you earlier you said, Tyler just wants to make it. and run from probably his hurt, but just make it. Um, and like you said, yeah, he has nothing, so he's just going to scrimp and scrapes, whatever he has to do to get by from day to day. So for these, and Elizabeth too, she's, I know her job in the beginning was to go and find Zach, but she probably found a little bit of herself too in this journey. That I think Zach's perseverance through everything, and maybe not having all the cognitive abilities, he still had heart.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's all.
I have to agree with you, and it just, I don't know, I found it endearing, but at the same time, when Carl said that, but then when saltwater redneck pulled around with the car, and Zach turned around and said, "Can my family come too?" Meaning Tyler and Eleanor. It was like, there you go. And then all I could think of was, is all of our brothers and sisters in the LGBTQIAA community who have had to find their own family. And how blessed, like the five of us are.
I
I'm
think we
sorry,
lost
we went out.
Facebook.
You saw
No,
that
we're
too?
back on.
No, we're still on. Yeah, you saw that too.
Yeah,
Okay.
it blipped.
Okay.
We're back. But how blessed we are that we found each other in our journey. And I think that got to me. When he turned around and did that, I was just like, wow, okay, I get it now. I really see God in this movie because God gives us the choices, and we never know who God is going to put in our path. And the other thing is we don't know who God's going to use or how God is going to use us. And I was like, okay, so it's going on. And I was like, I never, and so now, because of this Bible study, I'm
Mhm.
starting to look at movies differently. I want you all to know that.
Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, I really was so taken when they were on the raft and Eleanor said something about Zach, and Tyler just looked at her and said, don't say that." And she said something, and he said, "Why you treat him like he's retarded or something like that?" And she said, immediately got offended. And was like, "I never treat him. I never said that word." But he said, people who don't say the word still act, still act like people can't do anything. Meanwhile,
Right.
Zach is sitting there with his head under the water, you know,
And
and
comes up with the fish.
and it was like, and he catches a fish with his hands, and it was like, go ahead, Zach. You went from scared of water to a swimmer to now you're a fisherman. You just pull up fish out the water. Go ahead, Zach.
But I thought it was interesting too that um, it showed the growth in all of them. And you were like wondering, well, like, okay, Eleanor, and it was really funny because, like again, Tyler was real antagonistic to Eleanor in the beginning. You just a little rich girl, where you from? And she said rich men all, and she's like BW or something, JMU, and kind of making fun of her. But in the end, they all kind of looked out for each other then. But um, she was like surprised. She was like, "Did you just catch that fish?" because she had been taught that you take care of people with Down syndrome, not that they can do for themselves or they can take care of you. And I think that's something that we often forget too, that just because somebody doesn't have, quote, the same intelligence level that we have, that they're not just as smart or just as capable. And that to me was where God was teaching us about compassion in this movie. So,
So very true. I just saw I had so many moments in this movie where it was just like, wow. Because just when they were walking before Redneck, what's the name? just
saltwater redneck, Clint.
right after they had seen him and they were walking, and Tyler and Eleanor are pretty much kind of dogging Redneck, and Zach is still saying, no, but you didn't forget, you didn't keep your promise. You was going to do this and you was going to do that. And this is still going to happen. And he was really saying this stuff was going to happen. Then all of a sudden the car shows up. And I was like, wow. I was like, if that ain't some faith right there, that is truly some faith right there, because he is sitting there telling them that, oh no, he's gonna do this and you'll see this and the other, and it was like, bro, give it up.
Minister Lee, I have to agree with you. That brings back some good memories. That part there, yeah, because he was, and it reminds me of like the faith of a child. How he was just, he was, he had it. He was undoubted, unwavering. He's like, yep, saltwater redneck. I'm going down there. I'm going to school. I'm going to train with him, despite the journey, not knowing what the journey entailed or how he was going to get there. And getting there and everybody being there with him, and it's like, oh yeah, this isn't going to happen. And he's still holding on to his faith, and that is a beautiful scenario for all of us, uh, holding on to our faith like a child. There's some things and some promises that God has made us that we have to hold on to, regardless of how the situation looks, and regardless of what we're going through in life. That God is still going to perform in our lives. It's easy to be dissuaded because I'm gonna tell you, I'm a city boy, so I don't know about making that journey and swimming. Don't swim, so that would have been. And then the heat, Lord Jesus, and not enough, not bottled water every hour or so, and peanut butter, and I'm allergic to nuts. So that would have been not an ideal journey for me. But even in that, something that Minister Melinda said earlier, it brought to my attention and to my mind, in the midst of the situation and all that they were going through, there was yet still peace all around them. And that's a beautiful thing to be reminded by God in the midst of the journey that we're going through, even if it seems difficult, even if we don't know where we're going, but we're still following what we believe God has called us to do and called us to go. And yet the peace of God that surpasses all understanding, the hearing the water, being by the ocean, and the cool breeze, and the watermelon, all of those things, and yet in peace, while Eleanor was running around a little frantic at first trying to find them. And so that there wasn't necessarily peace there for her and her franticness, but in all that was going on with her busyness trying to find them, they were yet still. Zach was unwavering in his faith and his belief and trust in Tyler, and that Tyler was going to get him there. Even though he was scared and he didn't know how to swim, he didn't doubt, and so that bond and that faith, like a child. That is a reminder to myself, having that faith in God like a child. It is a beautiful thing, and we can have it.
In fact, I want to add on to that because if you think about it, Saltwater Redneck even told Zach that that was all done with strings and whatever. And Zach's like, no, it was real. It was real. I saw it. I saw it. The faith and the belief to the end that he had was astonishing because they're standing there telling him, no, we faked it. We faked it. And he's like, no, you didn't. I saw it on the tape. You didn't fake that. So it truly is the faith of a child. Truly, truly. There you go.
Sorry, we had to switch so that I can say something. Something, it was really interesting, something that I've read in a couple of articles about the movie and about the actor who played Zach. One, the doctors told his mother, put him in an institution. He's going to be a vegetable for the rest of his life. And his mother was like, she said something to the effect like, well, look, it's a good, it was like, it's a good thing I'm a vegetarian. Cause, so she was like, no, I'm not putting my child in an institution, and he's not going to be a vegetable. And look at how his life turned out. I believe he went to a mainstream school, I believe. He grew up in Florida, I believe, and he blossomed in school, but it was no thanks really to the school because, of course, he was not treated well. And of course, they didn't believe in him and his abilities. But look at God and how far he came. And the fact that he met the two gentlemen who made this movie, he met them at a camp for developmentally disabled people. And I don't remember the whole thing, but basically, he was like, you guys need to make this movie. And they were like, well, I don't know, Hollywood, yeah. And, and he was like, well, no, that's why you should make it. That's why you need to make this movie. And, it took about 5 years, but they, went through all the preliminaries and everything and getting the buy-in and getting whatever they needed, and they were able to make this movie. And the actor who plays Zach he actually is the one who gave the movie the title. And some of the things were his experiences or based on some of his experiences. And so I thought about how even way back, that even before he was born, that God knew what he was going to become, and how that this movie was going to be made, and that movie was made for a purpose, and for, I think, a greater purpose than what really, I think, even the creators, the directors, that anybody ever really thought. And it's just amazing when you just think about the effect that and I wish I could remember the actor's name, and I don't want to mess it up, but that how,
Zach is his name.
Is his real name is Zach?
Zachary is his name.
Oh, okay. That Zach, that faith of a child, that childlike faith, like well, that's why you should make this movie. And they made the movie. And, just having that faith, just that little bit of faith in the world, and how much this movie really, I think, blessed a lot of people, even though it was given a small. Thank you, Minister Lee. Zach Gossigan, that how he oh darn, I lost my train, but that that he just, it was just for, I think, for a greater purpose, really, really a greater purpose, than I think anybody ever really realized. And this movie opened up to a it was given a small debut, or whatever you call, not a.
Oh, like a premiere, a small
Yeah, but it
premiere.
didn't have, right. It was a small, small opening, but then look how it took off, and how, the critics and the people, the public latched onto it and loved it. So you just never know. So I'm grateful, A, that this movie was made, and B, that we are doing this series, and that I actually watched the movie, because at first when I saw the previews, I was like, I don't know about all that. I'm not sure. I don't know if I don't know if I'm gonna like that. I don't know if I really want to watch this. What is this movie really about? Peanut Butter Falcon? That don't make no sense. That's how I
I'm
was. And
I'm I'm with you, Minister Joe. I was like, peanut butter falcon. What is this about?
no clue. No clue. And here we are.
Yes. And I will say, Minister Joe, I know I had not seen the movie yet. And I think when we talked on, when were we together? Friday night?
I forgot.
Yeah, well, we were talking Friday night, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch it, and you're like, no, it's really good, and I'm like, okay, because it does take me a while to I guess sit down and focus, um, and but I really did enjoy the movie. It was really good. It makes you think. Um, I think it makes you think about um the other,
Hmm.
and realizing that the other, whatever that other is not so much different from you. They might look a little different, they might act a little different, but we are all essentially the same. We are the same people. So it's just realizing that you have a lot more in common than you think, just because you don't look the same, or dress the same, or come from the same background. And even the three of them, they all different backgrounds, different life experiences, still found a way to be a family.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. We kind of glossed over it, but when Eleanor finally found them, and she was she was fighting with Tyler. I was and she was just telling him that she was going to take Zach. She was going to take Zach, and she was going. And Zach just took the keys and threw them in the water and was like, "Yo, Eleanor." He was like, "It's not even up for discussion. I don't know why you're not asking me any of this, but hey, guess what? I ain't going. We ain't going. Yeah, you can walk or get on the raft."
I thought that was pretty good because I used to have a resident who would steal keys, and you never knew where they were going to end up, in the toilet, in the sink, outside in the grass. So I thought that was hilarious, but it also again shows what her expectations for Zach were as compared to what Tyler's were. So who was actually more educated and more compassionate? And it called that into question for me because Tyler was like, well, while you've been doing this, that, and the other, we've been out here living. And which is more important, to protect him or to allow him to live? And I think that sometimes God has to give us those choices, whether to protect us or to allow us to live. And in doing that, that allows us to grow. Because if Zach hadn't allowed Taylor to live, I mean, if Tyler hadn't allowed Zach to live, Zach wouldn't have grown. And I think that's what Eleanor ended up seeing in the end. And that allowed her to grow too. And that's how they all became a part of the family to me. So, yes, ma'am?
Oh, no, no, no. I was gonna say I think um Eleanor probably really didn't have a choice. I think Zach was just that determined to do what Zach wanted to do. And I think Eleanor, um, while I think that she thought she was protecting him, excuse me, that she thought she was protecting him because that was her job, he didn't really need protection. He
Right,
needed more guidance than protection. But I think in his uh what you saw as his disability, his his delay, he was just fine. He could take care of himself. But I think, and we do that with children and people we think are weak. We seem to not let them grow. So
right,
I think if she had not, I think Tyler, I mean Zach was going to do what he was going to do, but I think her allowing him and realizing that she needed to allow him to do, and seeing Tyler allowing him to be a person, not a ward. Like, he's a person. Let him be a person. Um, I think that helped um with her understanding.
so,
Yes,
guys,
I agree. Okay.
I agree with you. We're getting down to the end of the time here. So, I think we should kind of wrap it up, if that's okay. So,
Mhm.
and look, Minister Ray's like, yeah. Um, so, I don't know about you all, but I enjoyed the movie. I have really enjoyed this discussion because I've gotten even more insight into the movie. Um, so I'm going to ask one question. What was the most important, what most about God did you get out of the movie? What was the overall theme of it? Because I got to bring the message on it on Sunday. And I
Well,
want to see what you guys think. I haven't.
well, well, I think, and I've already said it. I think that um what I got from it is to be willing, even when you want it, because God protects us, but God lets us grow and lets us make mistakes. So I think just realizing that the people in your life, um, whoever they are not weak. You can provide guidance and protection, but let them be. Let them, and be there for those stumbles. Just like God is there for our stumbles, and you know, as Pastor V said, kissing our boo boos and wiping out, dusting our pants off, and we're set back on our way.
Thank you. Minister Tomas or Minister Lee?
I'll have to say for myself, I think having faith in God through the journey. We all face many and will face many more journeys in our life, and having faith in God through that journey, not knowing where that journey may take us, not maybe understanding, because I speak for myself, I like to know all the details. I want to know, Lord, give me the roadmap, give me the cliff notes, give me everything so I know going through the journey. I know it may be a difficult one. I may have to go through the valley, but I want to know everything, every aspect. And as we all know, God ain't like that. He's like, yeah, go ahead and go through it, and I'll tell you about it afterwards.
Right.
So For me, I see having faith in God in the midst of the journey, and trusting that even when we feel like we're not hearing God, God is still yet present and still yet getting us to the place we need to be.
I like that. Minister Lee?
For me, it was a representation, particularly looking at the end of the movie. It was a representation, truly, to me, how God truly is. Meaning, there was no, there were no lollipops and hugs at the end. I mean, it was a big emotional hug at the end, but there was some payment. There was some payment that was exacted. And God didn't choose not to stop payment. And it was like, yeah, that's really how I think God is. I think a lot of times we think God is the he's going to make the boo boos better, and we can do whatever, and there is no repercussion. No, there's repercussion, and I, I I I think that truly was the part that really got me, and it was, oh wow, looking at them in the car going, wow, they're together, they're together. I'm happy they're together. Somebody got a boo boo.
I think for me, it was all of that and more. But I think also, for me, that it was um, you just God can use anyone, and God has a plan and purpose for us all, no matter what. I mean, no matter who we are, what our uh, background is, or what our abilities are, or any of that, God can use it. And you just never know how. But God can use anyone. And um, I think that sums it up for me.
I have to agree. I also got to throw this in. I think that it also shows us that at any given point we become the other. It's like at every point in the movie there was always somebody lacking. It wasn't always Zach. Everybody became the other, and I think that's one of the great things that it knocked down walls, and it taught us. The big message for me was we all have to be allies at some point, but we have to learn how to be true allies and not just, oh, let me do that for you, let me just let me do this and do that, but to walk with people and not for people. And I just really appreciated that message.
I have to agree with all of you, and I'm not going to say anything because I'm not going to give up Sunday's message. Yay, me! So
Mm-hmm. Good.
that that completes Bible study for this evening. And guys, hold on because I usually have already pulled up what we're doing next week. And we're going to continue our series, um, God in Cinema. And I can't wait because the movie is Just Mercy. Haven't seen it yet, saving that one. That's my weekend. So if you haven't seen it, watch Just Mercy. Join us next Wednesday as we discuss God in Cinema. Y'all have a blessed evening, and we'll see you again.